Well, that's going a little longer than I expected it to, believe it or not. But yeah, like I was trying to make that really brief. But yeah, like I said, everybody voted about as across the board as you could have. Like what some people were just like, yeah, this is the movie. This is a very significant point. You can't just treat that like just another day watching it. You know, you have to mark the occasion. And some people, no, I hate the movie. The movie is nothing. I don't even like your special occasion episodes very much. Just get it over with as fast as possible. Okay, so yeah, this was clearly one of those times where it would be hard to please everybody. But what I ended up deciding, though, after I saw it, was that, yeah, there were actually some points that I thought the character could illustrate better than I could in just the unscripted feedback, because, I mean, yeah, well, on one hand, I do sort of agree with the people who say that it's not a very significant movie. I mean, as a movie on its own, in many ways, it's not. It's a, yeah, point that, well, it's a plot we've seen all kinds of times before. It seems like almost from a distance, like they're trying to cash in on that. But actually, no, I think this, in many ways, is a very curious point in the franchise. Because I mean, well, this is the first My Little Pony movie. I looked this up. I do know what I'm talking about here. But yeah, this is the first theatrical My Little Pony movie in decades. Not since the very first generation movie when I wasn't even alive. And yeah, this, I mean, the franchise has built itself back up big enough to warrant a second one after 20, 30 years. And yeah, and it's the sort of pinnacle of, well, I mean, there's another movie coming out, maybe we're only getting bigger from here, but it's sort of, in many ways, or it's marks how high this has risen as a fad. And it's just like, it seemed like when I tried to look up the movie, just research what its reaction was, whether positive reception, negative reception, it's just nobody wants to talk about it that much. It's just sort of treated like, yeah, it happened. And the reviews, I mean, well, because yeah, you'd think, okay, it's built to a movie, fans will either really love it or really hate it. And I mean, a couple of you in the comments sections did try to give me strong opinions, but no, overall, it just seems like the reviews written by critics and the fan reaction, it's just like reviews were very mixed, very just like, and unenthusiastic either way. Like the bad one I came across, the technically negative one I came across, just said it's not the worst from the Thompson guys. Like, if you held a gun to my head, told me I had to see it again. It's like, that's fine, whatever. That's what he actually said. What they had said. I don't know who actually says that. But okay, and then yeah, the positive reviews are saying, oh yeah, it's fine, but there's a lot of problems with it, or I mean, it's underwhelming for a lot of reasons. So I mean, it's just, it's very curious that there was just no reaction. At first it was, but then you see the movie and it kind of makes sense. Like, this is very much a fan sort of movie that, like, this, yeah, there's references to stuff that only the fans are really going to get. There's points they're getting at that you kind of have to understand where the show is coming. At very least, I think you have to see the very first episode of Friendship is Magic to understand what they're getting at. But so yeah, but still, that, yeah, it seemed to in some ways let the fans down. But okay, regardless though, this, yeah, really as such shouldn't be treated as full-blooded theatrical release, yeah, as a box office kind of movie. It should be treated as, I guess, sort of the highest end TV special it could be treated as, which is kind of what it is, what the treatment it does kind of get. Like, I think that's, so yeah, like I said, I think it's fitting that they have a brief theatrical release for those who wanted to see it on the big screen, but very much for the fans, and so you have to review it from that perspective. So, okay, but yeah, like I said, I thought it was betraying the concept, and that is sort of its biggest weakness too, that it does sort of go in that direction, this very generic, yeah, High School Musical-esque story. So, okay, that is a serious problem, but its biggest strength is that it has these characters to put into that setting, and it still has a pretty decent grasp on how to play them. Like, I think the writers actually did care about making the fans like this movie, and for the right reasons. But yeah, it just might have been a little bit of a miscalculation to make this the what it was, just girls in high school in a very cliche high school story. But yeah, it like I say, it takes the plot in some lame directions, but it also fixes some of the problems I was having with the plotting in season 3. So I mean, and don't get me wrong, like when they got to Canterlot High, I thought they were dead in the water. I mean, I said what I thought of the first act, and I mean, I was appreciating it there, but yeah, then they got to Canterlot High, and I was just like, nope, you're dead in the water. Just right away, there were all of this stuff, like I said, of the whole new world. I'm so fascinated by how wondrous the boring world we see every day is. I mean, I don't want to go on it just seemed to be going through the motions, I guess is what I should say there. I mean, we've seen that before. It's not like we see specifically what Twilight is curious about. For example, when she's looking at them writing on the chalkboard or playing hacky sack, they're doing something she hasn't seen before that we all knows what it is, and she just says like, I'm curious. Okay, so yeah, I thought, and there were a couple of moments too that weren't just generic like that. That did seem like they were having fun with it or getting into it, like the thing where Twilight and Fluttershy are in the cafeteria and Twilight tries to eat an apple without actually picking it up. That was kind of just getting into what Twilight's transition from a pony to a human girl. That, yeah, she runs around on all fours at first. She eats apples without picking them up, and then okay, so more points where it seemed like they were having some fun with it, and not like it takes a mountain of creativity to come up with that. But no, they were having fun with it. Or stuff like where she stands up to Sunset Shimmer, and I would have almost liked to see them go farther with that instead of just like Sunset Shimmer tweaks her nose and walks away. I almost would have liked to see it get even more to why Twilight is someone's that, or is a leader that she's willing to stand up to people like that. But yeah, would have liked to see them push that a little further, but I just even so I was like, okay, just no, I see what you're trying to do. It's a mandatory High School Musical plot. Yeah, you're dead on your feet. And but where it started to sort of like finally sort of make me start silently rooting for it was at the cafeteria number where how the friends are gonna get the school to rally behind Twilight and fix these probably and get them to vote for her for the Princess of the Dance. So well, granted that started out because, like I said, that sounds like a very cliche scenario what I just described. So yeah, they're getting up there. I saw right away when they said they've got to figure something out, and then the next scene it's the next day they're going into the cafeteria, or maybe it's the same. I don't know, probably the next day. But okay, yeah, they start clapping stuff. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what you're doing, and that is stupid. It doesn't happen. I mean, we've seen that before. Yeah, school spirit. That's what everyone's going to get behind, right? With school spirit and this very cliche message that's not actually applicable. And I mean, and then they play it, and it's very smart how they play it. They start playing it out that we see that they've prepared this. That they spread out all across the cafeteria, and they start clapping to the beat, and then after they get a few rounds in, Spike switches on the music, and it's like, yeah, they are putting themselves out there. It's not just something you can do on a whim, and the cafeteria is going to get behind you and start loving it. But like, okay, no, they do have to stick their necks out a little bit. But yeah, even so, I was like, no, doesn't happen. And then they start singing. Like, oh, no, it's good. But so because well. All right. So, I mean, what you start to appreciate, though, I mean, when they start singing, because I'm don't get me wrong, I'm as tough as on pop music as just about anyone. I mean, I'm high energy, vapid songs. I am believe me, I am very tough on those. To go really fast. That's I'm sure everybody in every generation said last generation's music was better. But no, and I mean, and even the songs that managed to pull a very catchy, enjoyable beat out of it, then it's like I'll listen to. I mean, I can just turn your brain off on. I can do that, but I mean, even you get something like what that Call Me Maybe song. It has a moderately catchy beat and everything, but I can only take so much of it. It's like so aggressively vapid. I'm like, it's like you ate a handful of pixie sticks or something like that. It only takes so much. But no, but I mean that not all pop music is like that. Some of it is a lot of fun to listen to and has lines that you can get behind and stuff like that. And where a movie sort of benefits, well, I shouldn't say benefits, but where a movie alters it a little so that part of it is how it ties into the scene, how it plays off of that, and that can a lot of times add another dimension to it, as it should. The song was written to play off of that. That's part of its identity. Let It Go from Frozen, for example. If that had just come out as just a song on the radio, we probably would have thought, it's good, and it would have just been another hit that came and went and then got played every so often on someone's party playlist or something. But no, because it was part of this scene, this very powerful scene where the character we thought was going to be just the tragic hero we've seen times before. That's the scene where they flip that on its head and have her, of all things, decide that the thing that's made her an outcast is, she never said she had a problem with that. That's something she loves about herself, and she's gonna start exploring it and having fun. And so that the context of that is what has, I think, turned Let It Go from like just a up-tempo powerful song into this anthem, this power ballad, and as it should, because like I said, that's part of its identity. And this song here, what you sort of start to appreciate is that I think what I start to sort of get behind when I hear it is that this is kind of like what they would do in the show, where they because remember they had a lot of typical cliche plots there, but or plots that have been done many times before, but weren't typical and cliche because they inserted these characters into them, and they really, started thinking about it from their perspective, and then instead just told a very genuine, character-driven story that actually did make you get behind it and come up with something very genuine and very worth taking away from it. And that's, I think, sort of what they're doing here too. I mean, they're not altering this one as much. Like this, it still hits a lot of generic notes, but I mean, instead of that typical plot like that poor man's breakfast club where like we see it in High School Musical or something like that, which is that we should defy the status quo, which is not applicable because that's not how it works. There's not a clean-cut status quo. There's not in any school I've seen where it's just this perfect divide. If it did understand how that worked, it would probably look a lot more like there are cliques. There are people who gravitate more towards them, but there's more so. They're just more like on the edges of a great big mass of everybody. People who are none of the above, or half in, half out. What stops people, I think, in high school from feeling comfortable around everyone is not that, I'm not part of that clique, I'm part of this one. If I try to cross over and defy the status quo, I might be branded something, or I might be scored. It's more like that, they're just not sure how their people are going to react to them in general. I mean, cliques give people the excuse to open up to, not really open up so much, just to talk to each other or to bond with each other over something, just like that, to give them something that they both have in common and they can both get into. So, I guess that's why you might, that's where that's applicable, but otherwise it's just in general that people don't feel comfortable opening up to one another. They're not sure how everyone's going to react. So then what this song, I think, sort of replaces that with is the message that this franchise has. Well, it's in the title, just friendship and real friendship, not the something that like this hollow point of worship or this the cult of bosom bunnies or something like that. It's you get it. It's not like they're trying to move people with this song to touch their hearts or something like that with this message about how we're all in this together. That's not what Twilight and Co. are trying to do. They're trying to get people excited by this notion. They're trying to, I mean, it's point based around friendship. They're sort of trying to form like Club Twilight do in many ways, the same thing that one clique would do, but that a clique would allow people to do. I mean, but for everybody, just like say, yeah, hey, let's come together under a common cause and just like have fun with it and just like present the excuse to maybe talk to each other a little more or just like spend a little more time getting to know each other. It's like essentially it's their sort of vouching for a club, a common cause, a group, something that for people to join, to get excited over, to provide the opportunities to make friends, which is, I mean, why people join clubs. So, you believe that people would sort of get together behind this cause and just like, yeah, and that conveyed in just this like really high tempo, this technically very well done song, like one that actually felt like it could be on the radio on its own, and yeah, them just singing it and just sort of, and because we know these characters too, and like how this is basically what they're about, what they stand for, just like the message of friendship, and I mean, and now they're now we're bringing that to a movie where we're gonna try to bring that over, fight for it in the real world. I mean, I'm just watching. I couldn't help but being like, yeah, go for it, you got it. So, anyway, and I mean, there's still, I mean, it's still not how a real school works. It still does have that sort of fake divide, that the fake impression of how a school works, but still the message and the way it's delivered, there is something real about that. So I mean, it's like, yeah, the setup is rushed, but not in a way that like cripples the message, just in a way that makes it seem a little bit abridged, just makes it less resonant than it could have been. So, okay, so that scene happened with the song, and then that had me sort of like, well, okay, maybe this movie does want to just be more about vouching for friendship than the way the show does, vouching for real friendship, that, not Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the Cards friendship, but, and so yeah, maybe it does want to be about Twilight's progression and everything like that. And so, okay, I had me kind of silently rooting for it now, and a couple of scenes went by that didn't amount to much, like one more with that love interest character. Oh man, it's just so forgettable. I don't even think he's worth really talking about. Like, he had maybe two sweet moments that made me think that, okay, if they'd actually cared about giving him a personality, maybe they could have gone somewhere with this. But otherwise, there was nothing. I mean, like the thing at the end where he and Twilight are at the dance, just sharing the one dance or so before Twilight has to leave, and she starts just really getting into it, dancing on all fours, just like she knows how to do because she's really a pony, and he decides, like, sure, he can embrace her quirks. He's down on the floor dancing right there with her. I mean, stuff like that. Like, okay, if they actually had cared about what he was besides a quote unquote nice guy with a Ken doll smile, then okay, maybe they could have gone somewhere with that, but otherwise, just so forgettable, not worth talking about beyond this. But okay, so a couple of scenes like that went by, and then sure enough, it did start to feel like they were spinning more of that sweet sort of testament to friendship, something that was a little more genuine. Like, what they had that song / montage where they had to fix up the gym or whatever it was that Snips and Snails had trashed to get ready for to make the dance happen. So I mean, instead of bonding over everybody being touched by the idea that they don't have to buy into stereotypes or whatever. No, they come together over something they all want, that they all agree on to fix up the whatever, so the dance can happen, and then they spend time together, and then how do some of these students, these kids who might not, you wouldn't think go together at first, how do they sort of start to bond? Do they both, I don't know, like something that you wouldn't think either one would like? No, they work together, and they discover that, they sort of like helping each other, like what the moment where there's little guys on a ladder trying to hang something up to light or the lights or something that they need, and then it's not steady, he can't do it, he thinks he might falls, and then this big guy comes by and just holds the ladder for him, and it's kind of just like, yep, I got you, and just helping each other out. They're working together as a team and for something they both agree on. That's believable. There's something real in that, and or what the boyfriend, the love interest in his band are playing, and then this guy who I guess is supposed to look kind of geeky, so you wouldn't think he'd normally hang around him, that he is part of that too, because it just so happens he also knows about how to get the music ready. He knows how to remix it or something like that, and and they don't even, there's no dialogue either. They just they're on stage doing their thing with the instruments. He's on stage doing his thing with the remixer, and it's like, it's like you get the sense that they both sort of realize, but they're coming together over a common cause. So it's and the song too that they play for it's again very sweet, like a little more forgettable, a little less substance there than say the Cafeteria number, but okay, still it's the moments like that are sweet and genuine, and and not just in a general sense. They also do, showcase the personalities of the main characters. It also sort of just gets into Twilight's progression for one, but also just sort of living in the moment with them, with their more like Pinkie Pie has a ton of good moments in this movie, for example. Just they're all cleaning up and she's sweeping, and then she decides just for fun, she runs along the floor dragging her hair on the ground to mop up with that, and then she puts her head up with filthy, there's trash in it, she doesn't even care, she's just lapping it up, and stuff like that. Having these characters, their message is more genuine and their personalities are more genuine, so the whole thing starts to feel a little more genuine. And best of all, that too, what not only is the message sort of more genuine, the conflict, they're back to using solutions based on what we've actually seen, how they defeat Sunset Shimmer, even though that Thompson guy, Red Ink Review, said that, this is why it's really has to be treated as a fan kind of movie, because it came across to him like it was that they defeated her for no reason, like that the solution happened for no reason, and that's what it will come across like if you haven't seen at very least the first two part of the intro episode. But they defeat Sunset Shimmer because Twilight has befriended all of these counterparts of her friends back home, who then also who in this world represent the other elements of harmony. So their Sunset Shimmer has stolen the bit that they established in the first episode that they represent the elements of harmony. So Sunset Shimmer, she can steal the peace, she can wield the powers that have been caused by this dimensional shift. But Twilight, because she has united with the five friends who represent all of the elements of harmony, then Sunset Shimmer might have the powers from the dimension cross, but the element still belongs to them. It still responds to them. So it still gives the real power of the elements to the friend. That you understand that it's tied into everything you've seen before, and it makes sense. And there's a moral to it. It's tied into the moral about that. Friendship, like true friendship, with not like I said, not hard to cards friendship, but still friendship that is based on relationships worth sticking with, that have what the elements, the honesty and loyalty and generosity involved. That that's what conquers all. So I mean, it's like, wow, I'm glad to see that all of this. That this is providing a lot of what I appreciated the show for in the first place. And granted, there are still a lot of lame turns and stuff thrown in. Like, even in all throughout the movie. I'm not just talking like, okay, if you can just get through this part, there's no more lame turns. No, like Sunset Shimmer's redemption at the end. All it takes to go from being a demon that actually tried to kill Twilight, and from that to a sobbing, apologetic, lost soul, is to get hit with the elements of harm. Nothing changed. Well, maybe they were going for like the elements harmonized her like they did with Luna, but no. If you want to have that kind of progression, you can't just have her say, "I didn't know there was another way," and like leave us to speculate on why she might do that. Just like, well, there's a reason, or else she wouldn't be doing it. You people just guess what that is. No, you have to have a point A and a point B, and at least something connecting the two. But even so, in spite of the moments like that, this is a very sweet story in a very identifiable way, and it earns it. Just like, Twilight being celebrated as a princess and getting her big dance and everything at the end. It's just like, first of all, it was very satisfying after I said that her last step towards becoming a princess, it didn't feel like she actually had to have much of an arc or accomplish all that much. Here she actually does have to accomplish something. She has to work her way up to feeling like she's ready to be a princess, to accept that responsibility. She does have to do something that makes her feel like she's earned it, so that's very satisfying. But just what the delivery itself, Twilight making these new friends and getting people to rally behind her, and starting to just, to spending some time in this world, and finding some joyful moments there, like the dance and the celebration, and even the "this is our big night" montage. It's just very sweet, and in ways that it earns, because you see like why they're so sweet and why Twilight would why they would affect her the way they do. And just granted, it does make you sort of want them to do, like I said, lame moments. They do make you want sort of more from it, to give you something. Let me put it this way. It's not that it doesn't work and it could have been better. It's that it does work and it could have been better. It's like, it just was like that quote I think I said from Roger Ebert once before already, that it engaged me enough so that I wanted it to engage me even more. Like, it could have, if only they'd, done something like on the level of a Canterlot Wedding, just found an issue that was a little bit more mature, and conquered something that felt a little more real and a little more significant than, these sweet moment, like these characters, what they are, really could have been the moment to celebrate. This could have been like an even more significant moment in their lives that you really could have gotten behind. So, it just wasn't as good as it could have been, but it was still just, it was, to answer the question I left hanging, I did like the third act overall, in spite of the drawbacks, and Equestria Girls gets a split decision, thumbs up. And, I'm as surprised as you, but I don't know. I've been, I guess, a little meaner than usual lately anyway, so it's not bad to have a heart every so often. But no, really, what I liked about this movie, I do feel like it earned. I do feel like this movie just did accomplish something, did try to tell a story about these characters for the right reason. It told the wrong story, but once it had it, I think it tried, and it managed to, like I said, fill up by split decision, give you something worthwhile. So, okay, but it must have done something right to get me to fall for versions of these characters and these new, very mediocre designs. Alright, next is, well, yeah, okay, I did look at it. It's just called Princess Twilight Sparkle. So, okay, I'll see you there.